You know, you guys, the governors call you guys
yes,
the House of Bribes.
yes.
Go on, explain to me. Why do they say that?
They're actually saying the truth. Kenya is a house of bribes, and they're part of it. They're the ones who bribe our colleagues when they're visiting their committees and tell them, whatever that you see in the audit report, please do not. Why was I kicked out of the SIPA committee? Because I was told you've been asking too many questions about ODM governors, and you're an ODM senator. And I said, but my job is to oversight these guys, and they're doing some filthy stuff. They're able to influence who will sit in what committee and what they must speak.
So you agree that your house is rotten?
It's a filthy place. I've always said it, Jeff. It's a den of gamblers and street vendors and money dealers and gold proprietors, except the only thing they never do is to fight for public service, is to fight for service delivery, is to fight for money not to be wasted.
Senator Methu, House of Bribes.
You know, I would not say, I would not want to borrow the words of Senator Onyonka, but I served with him in the Public Accounts Committee. We were kicked out together.
Kicked out?
Yeah, of course, because we were told that, you know, you guys, you are asking too many questions. I mean, this is not how it's done. You guys are first-time senators. This is not how it's done. But the long and short of what I would say, Parliament, in my opinion, is the weak link in serving the people of Kenya. Because it's been said countless times. You saw, I mean, somebody was actually narrating how they gave 100 million to have a governor impeached. You saw it. I mean, somebody was actually making an admission that we gave 100 million. We saw money exchange
when
hands.
he was in government.
We saw money, I mean, a lot of money being carried with you know, with bags when Rigathi Gachagua was being impeached. I mean, guys were being told that there's money here, just come and collect.
Did you collect?
Well, he was for Gachagua.
I mean, if I had collected, I would not have voted in his favor. So,
you can still collect.
Okay. I hear there are guys who collect and run.
Yeah.
I'm not made of that material. But I'm telling you, Jeff, as it is now, both the National Assembly and the Senate, the place of Mwananchi is not in those two places. It's not in neither in the National Assembly nor in the Senate. And you see that most of the things that are processed, because you say sometimes we say that there are excesses from the executive, but the people who are supposed to pay oversight, either on the executive and even on the governors, is supposed to be us, the senators.
Yeah.
My last point would be, now I was actually now surprised to hear that governors are now saying these guys are asking for bribes. Now, if you ask for bribes, you've been a governor for 3 years. You've been appearing before the Public Accounts Committee. You've never complained the first year. You never complained the second year. You never complained the third year. You are now complaining the fourth year. You know why? Because it is now time that they're answering their own questions. You know, initially they used to say, you know, audit reports do not come, you know, for this financial year. Now we've now gotten to their financial years of the time that they are now governors.
Right.
It's the reason why they now want to complain and say that no, we don't want this judge. We don't want this judge. We want this judge who can be able to ask us these questions.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been taken to court and you are saying that I don't want this judge. I want to be judged by so and so because I think they are a fairer judge. So
that the other judge eats too much.
So I will not stand.
That the oversight years, we've been oversighting years before some of these governors were elected into office. Now we've got to the crucial years when they're in office, and therefore we'll be oversighting questions that they are responsible for. So the excuse of non-appearance, the excuse of blaming another governor who was in office doesn't arise for first-term governors. But I'm not saying that Senate is entirely clean or the National Assembly is entirely clean. I think that it is important for those governors to say that they've been asked for money.
Consolidated fund was actually a fund that nationally, previously in our history, there was no president who had unaffected access to that consolidated fund. Now, the president has complete access to the consolidated. He doesn't have to seek parliamentary approval to do anything. He can actually take that money and spend it. All right?
Yeah.
And that is why, if you notice, some of us are saying, we have absolutely no problem with the government borrowing money to come and do infrastructure. We don't have a problem with that. But why is it that you don't want this money to be managed and controlled by the controller budget? Do I even know whether this money, the way you have framed everything you've done, the money is not even supposed to be audited?
Yeah.
I mean, what we are saying is, we want this country to be transparent. We want people to be responsible. And yet, my honest feeling is we who have been given that responsibility have abdicated it.
And at the same time, gentlemen, let me tell you this. The Senate, initially during the 2010 Constitution, was supposed to be the house of the wise men.
Yes, the upper house.
House of the wise men.
Then it was diluted.
Well, let me say something. Let me say something, Jeff. I'll say two things. Number one, when Senator Professor Ojienda says that on the first limb of what Parliament is expected to do, oversight, representation, and the public has said that we don't want this particular legislation. Yeah. So sometimes I actually wonder, this representation that we say that we are representing the people, because sovereignty, according to Article 1 of the Constitution, is with the people of Kenya. Is it really the people of Kenya that we represent, or sometimes we actually represent the interests of the president, because it is the president who was actually really pushing?
Are you saying your hands are tied? You feel your hands are tied?
No, our hands are not tied. Our hands are not tied, Jeff, because you see, there is separation of power. And I think, I mean, this is very, very clear in the 2010 Constitution. The working of Parliament, if Parliament was supposed to work the way it's supposed to work in terms of oversight, in terms of representation, like, for example, when we say our hands are tied, what stopped the National Assembly from not passing the finance bill? What obligation did they have to pass a finance bill that the people had actually rejected that piece of legislation? Yeah. Let me come to the Senate. After everybody, and that is why I would want to say that the people of Kenya should have some level of faith, especially in the Senate. After everybody ran away, the National Assembly was suspended, everybody ran away. It is this gentleman that you are seeing here and the other colleagues of ours that went back to the Senate and said, guys, look here, we have a country. And if we allow every institution to go down, all of us are going down. And we were able to bring very good motions. Unfortunately, the implementation of the good things that we spoke about, just the same way that I have had some people say now, oh, the 10-point agenda is limitless. It is not time-bound. We can actually, I mean, because that is our that is the architecture of our governance, Jeff. Yeah. They are very good. If you look at the motions, the motion that we processed after the Gen Z protest in June of 2024, if you look at the things that we passed and we say that these are the things that have been raised by the people, and if they are implemented, we shall be able to have our country back. If you look at the 10-point agenda, for example, some people are saying that this thing, we don't have a timeline. Like, for example, let me ask you, one of the things that has been proposed in the 10-point agenda is timely disbursement of revenue to counties. So, what is required to implement such an agenda? I mean, nothing in that. I mean, okay. all these things that have been proposed in the 10-point agenda, they are not complex. They should not even have taken a year.
Okay, Prof, let me ask you this. Who is the Senate accountable to?
The Senate is accountable to the people. That's number one. Because representation under 96, directly you look at Article 1, the people, and then the institution, and then 96.3. Now, the Senate then is created by law. It is the Constitution that puts it in place to undertake the function that it does. And that is why it must also act in a timely manner to ensure that it delivers through, of course, enacting DORA and ensuring that
further legislation
funds go to counties. And that is why he has a point that...
Oh, hold on a second. I got to take a break right now. I'll come back, and you hold that thought, because we'll come back exactly to that. And also, there's so much we want to talk about in the Senate. I mean, your leader, your DCP leader says, governors should take development to the people. Mm-hmm. Half the governors, well, not half, many governors in the north especially, they live here in Nairobi. Mm-hmm. We won't talk about that. Why is the Senate so silent, in other words? You people are like church mice. You're silent. Got Professor Tom Ojienda, SC, from Kisumu.
That's a
Senator
question.
John Methu.
We will
answer
that. We have the data. We have the receipts.
You guys are silent.
We are not.